With us now is Mayor Scott Brook, Mayor of Coral Springs, Florida, an award-winning city right here in South Florida. Scott, it's so good to have you back on the show. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Great to see you. How are you?
Not bad at all. It's spring, and of course, this is all good. And it's interesting to see how things develop. And it so happens that in this city, this award-winning city, in fact, you know what? Tell our audience why it's called an award-winning city.
We won this prestigious award back in 2007. I had been mayor the first time. We received it in 2008. It's called the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. And we're actually the first municipality in the country to ever win this prestigious award given out to high-performing companies throughout the United States. And it comes from the Secretary of State of the United States. And we were actually presented with the award by President Bush when I was with the former Vice Mayor, Vince Bocard, and the former City Manager, Mike Levinson. It's quite a moment.
The question is, why would this reasonably small city, why is it regarded as so outstanding?
Yeah, we're now at about 134,000 residents. We're a master plan community. We were chartered in 1963, and it's very unique because we are as family oriented as we are, and how we measure our performance in this city since before I became elected in 2002 for the first time was based on objective measures. So we look to increase our response time in our fire department. We look to close out X amount of cases in our police department. And we have all these different measures of performance that help us be this high achieving organization like some of the best run businesses in the country. These days, we have a fantastic city manager, Frank Babinek, who runs the show day to day, and wonderful, visionary, active, proactive department heads. And we just have a lot of people that care, that are smart, that give back. And it's a great community to be a part of.
I'm honored and pleased to live here for 20 years. My son volunteers. Paul volunteers for the city. But anyway, what I wanted to ask you is that basically, in this very strange time in history, the world has endured so many unexpected challenges, to say the least. And this city has been managing rather well, actually, with all of these emergencies and situations. Share a little bit of that with us.
Sure. I'd attribute it to about 4 to 6 factors. One of them is our city manager, who has a public health background. We've also had fantastic leadership in emergency management and our medical director, Dr. Peter Antevi. So we were able throughout this pandemic to be informed, be proactive, and keep our residents informed and to some extent engaged while keeping them safe. We've also had a balanced approach, in my opinion, to COVID. So there were some changes that we made in regards to early on to support our businesses. One of them was we came up with $1,000 for 250 businesses to help them at a very tough time. We also started the Economic Recovery Task Force during this time, which was comprised of volunteers in our community, as well as our city manager, our emergency management director, Alex Falcone, and our economic development director, Christy Bartlett, and myself, with about 12 volunteers. And then you also mentioned your son being a volunteer. We've had volunteers throughout our community, whether it was city-led or non-city-led, that help people transition during this tough time. So for instance, Chabad Lubavitch, with the leadership of Rabbi Friedman here, had a lot of volunteers and gave out food almost every Wednesday for many, many Wednesdays. And then we had some food drives and help of some local resources to also help families in need. One of the things that all of us did on the commission was we made ourselves available by Zoom early on in the pandemic to really listen to our residents, be a presence for them, but also help them with resources. And then one of the best resources before, after, during the pandemic is 211, which is a Broward County resource, and they funnel needs to resources throughout our Broward County community. So those are a few of the reasons that I think we're able to manage this pandemic pretty well. There were some proactive measures that the fire department took, and that was led by our city manager. And one of them involved pool testing that could potentially save a lot of dollars and then save us from having the COVID virus spread. The details of that you'd have to get from Frank or from Dr. Antevi or from Alex.
You mentioned Rabbi Friedman. So happens, Rabbi Friedman's going to be on the show following our interview with you. And back to the city, in the history of the city, I think 50 or 60 years in existence, the biggest development ever in the history is taking place right now, the new downtown. Tell us about it.
Yes, so we have the Cornerstone development here on the southwest corner of Sample and University. We're going to have a Hyatt hotel with a rooftop bar. It's going to have retail on the bottom, condos above, and it's just going to be a great area for people to be entertained. You can walk your dog. There'll be places for people to sit, walk, connect. I'm putting it out there repeatedly for Rod Sheldon, who's the main developer, to look for a jazz place to bring in. I do think that there'll be some various places that has live music. And for me, it'll be entertainment for people of all ages, from 12 to 92. So it'll be a really great way for our community to connect. There'll be enough parking. And when we run out of parking, we'll have a shuttle service or something of the kind. And that's spurring also development on the northwest corner. And then we'll see what happens on the northeast corner in the years to come. But I anticipate a diversified tax base, reasons for our children, my children, they're ages 21, 23, 30 and above, to say, hey, Coral Springs is a place I'd like to raise my family and be engaged. And just really excited about our downtown development. It's coming along great, a little bit faster than I would have anticipated. And we should be, I think we're going to do some, ribbon cutting probably around May of 2023, if my estimate is correct.
The sooner, the better. Sir, before we conclude our interview, what are your plans for the future?
In terms of whether I'm hoping to be mayor again?
Or
just in general?
another position, perhaps?
Yeah, right now I'm running for mayor, and I am your mayor, so far running unopposed, which is fantastic. And it's just a pleasure to serve our citizens. I'm really grateful, especially to my wife, Brenda, for her support, for me to be able to be the mayor. I'm in my fourth term. I'm blessed to work with a fantastic commission. We really have great alignment, a lot of fantastic citizens, a lot of leaders in our community that give back and give me input. And as far as what's happening beyond mayor, I'm planning to be a poppy, hopefully to more grandchildren. I have 4 grandchildren now, and you never know where politics may take you.
Well, I should charge you for the following compliment. I've interviewed so many mayors, the mayors of Las Vegas, the husband and now his wife, and Mayor Koch all the way back then, and mayors in Jerusalem and also, and you're just about the most dynamic of all. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being with us and hope to have you again in the future.
I appreciate that, Richard. Happy to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.